Hello, listeners, and welcome to another edition of Bookie Bashing. Week 4 of the NFL season is here. I am your host, Anthony Nicky Jr., alongside my two trusted gambling colleagues, Mr. Ace Berg.
Oh, we could not be any more excited over here, folks. I hope you guys are equally excited.
And Mr. Joey Staxxx.
Guys, not only do I got 5 winners for you, I got 5 words for you. I love this friggin' card.
I don't think you can say it any better than that. This is a great card. Probably our most anticipated weekend so far this season. We love these 5 games. Locks for you. It was hard to get down to 5. That's how excited we were about this weekend. We narrowed it down, though, and we are going to give you those picks in just a moment. Last weekend, disappointing, of course. 2-3, but as we say, this is not a sprint. This is a marathon, and we're going to continue to build on that marathon this week. 10-7 overall so far in the NFL season. 8-4 over the last 2 weeks. 6-4 over the last 2 weeks in the NFL. Last weekend, of course, we were at 500. Monday night, the job didn't get done by the New York Jets. One of the worst officiating crews in the league. Jerome Boger and company gave the Bears a 14-0 lead after they set them up with a 1st and goal from the 7 with a horrible defensive pass interference call, and then completely changed the game by taking away a touchdown as Boger blows the whistle early before halftime. Jets end up getting the ball back, but it changes the game completely. We lose that touchdown, don't do anything before the half, and instead of leading, we're playing comeback. Either way, 8 yards away from tying that thing up, Geno Smith in the end, and then we're talking about a different week. However, we are coming back at you with 5 winners, going to build on already a winning and productive season. We want to keep building up those bankrolls. Let us run this marathon for you, folks. Know you're excited about this card. We are too. Don't want to waste any more time. Let's get to the action. Week 4, NFL season.
Tennessee at Indianapolis.
Indianapolis heads back home following a rout of the Jacksonville Jaguars last Sunday, and we are laying 7.5 points against the Tennessee Titans. We love the Colts here. Take that 7.5 all day. Gonna tell you to buy the hook down to 7 just to play it safe. Don't get beat by that touchdown. But we expect the Colts to roll here by double digits against another AFC South division foe. Colts come in with a stranglehold on the division. They're 13-3 against the spread in their last 16 games against the AFC South. Titans, on the other hand, come in 3-13-2 against the spread in their last 18 against the same division. The Colts know they need this game. They want to get back to 500. They know they need to get to the top of that division before the Texans start to get a little lead on them. Listen, they're 6-2 against the spread in the last 8 games, 4-1 against the spread in the last 5 home games. You haven't heard T.Y. Hilton's name yet. You haven't heard Reggie Wayne's name yet. I expect Andrew Luck to get them involved in the offense this week. They're going to put up a lot of points against these Titans. Titans come in 1-6-1 against the spread in the last 8 overall. They just got banged up in Cincinnati last week. It's going to be tough for them to come out and even keep this game close and Indy.
Yeah, folks, I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. Early on in this season, the Colts offense really hasn't looked great. It kind of sputters at times. Sometimes they even look lost at what they think they're supposed to do out there. But yet, at the end of the game, they still end up putting up pretty good totals. I'm going to focus in on where they're getting their touchdowns. It's a really funky. Andrew Luck is the only guy with a rushing touchdown on there. T.Y. Hilton and Reggie Wayne both don't have a receiving touchdown. In fact, Amon Bradshaw is the guy that leads the team in receiving touchdowns with 3. They haven't been getting production out of their top guys so far. I really think it gets a little more traditional this week when they face up against the Tennessee Titans team. They see a decent amount. They start looking good. Reggie Wayne gets in the end zone. T.Y. Hilton, I think, gets in the end zone also. I'm even seeing a couple rushing touchdowns for these running backs. This Colts defense is going to be able to slow down this Titans offense a bit. Delaney Walker's a little banged up. That's one of the Titans' few weapons that they have to expand the field. I don't see the Titans being able to put many points up on the board. It's going to get ugly in Indianapolis.
Yeah, this Indianapolis team, not the traditional way that they've been scoring with their main guys, but I love to see Trent Richardson coming together. He's looked horrible these past few seasons. We have Ahmad Bradshaw looking great, catching the ball out of the backfield like he's been doing it forever. We have a couple talented receivers. Their defense has looked okay the past couple weeks, strong enough to withstand this weak Titans offense. Like Ace said, we have a banged up Delaney Walker, Jake Locker's #1 target. Jake Locker banged up a little bit himself. Not too much to be afraid of over there in Tennessee. Colts win by double digits.
Yeah, you're still getting some value here. The Colts had 2 really tough contests to start the year. Heading to Denver, having to play Philly on Monday night. You had them at 0-2. Now they try to get back to 500. They have no problem handling another AFC South opponent. Colts roll in this one, 31-13 final.
Atlanta at Minnesota.
We love taking advantage of a public's overreaction to a specific team, and you are getting that opportunity here as Atlanta comes to Minnesota with the Vikings getting 3 points. We're taking these Minnesota Vikings all day to get you an outright win at home. Atlanta Falcons come in 2-6 against the spread in their last 8 games, but the public's all over them following a dominating win on Thursday night last week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The thing about that one is Buccaneers a very young team. It's hard for teams to travel on that Thursday night and come out with a victory. Tampa Bay, one of the youngest teams in the league, obviously had that problem. Minnesota comes in 4-1 against the spread in the last 5 home games, 5-1 against the spread following a straight-up loss. They played really well when Teddy Bridgewater came in for Matt Castle last Sunday. He kind of slowed the game down. Looked like New Orleans was going to roll in that one, but they ended up slowing the game down a little bit, ended up being only 20-9. New Orleans scores a lot of points at home, and Minnesota was able to slow them down. I'm sure they're going to slow down a Matt Ryan-led Falcons team that really struggles on the road. Look at Week 1. They had a dominating win at home against the Saints, came back to reality in Week 2 against the Bengals. Now, after a dominating win against a young Buccaneers team, I fully expect them to come back down to reality, lose this one in Minnesota this weekend.
Yeah, folks, this is one of your NFL games that your casual football fan will look at and go, how are the Atlanta Falcons only giving 3 to these Minnesota Vikings who don't have Adrian Peterson, they don't have their starting quarterback, there's a rookie quarterback taking over in his first start ever? God, these Falcons are just going to roll over them. Not so fast, my friends. Mike Zimmer's drawing up a perfect scheme to really fool Matt Ryan, a lot like he fooled Drew Brees last week. He held Drew Brees in check by these crazy formations that they run. And let me tell you, the Atlanta Falcons are not disciplined enough to stick to a conservative offensive game. They like to spread the ball out. In fact, already in these 3 games, they have 9 different guys who have a touchdown. There's only one guy on their team, Julio Jones, who has more than 1 touchdown. He has 3. What that shows you is they like to get everybody to touch the ball. They like to spread it out a lot. They like to come out in 3-4 wide receiver sets. The problem is Mike Zimmer loves when his defense is in nickel, dime packages, things that you have never seen before. Now, if it confused Drew Brees, it's definitely going to confuse Matt Ryan. A guy like Anthony Barr or Sharif Floyd really might get in Matt Ryan's face a lot. Really not make it comfortable, not allow him to step up into that pocket, get any deep throws out there. I really think that might hinder the way this Falcons offense is able to move the ball this Sunday. Now, personally, I'm not that worried about Teddy Bridgewater in what should be good weather out in Minnesota against an undisciplined Falcons defense. I think he can manage the game enough to make it interesting, get them a lead. I don't think the Falcons can move the ball at all this week in Minnesota, and Minnesota shocks a lot of people as they take this win.
Couple things I want to talk about with this game. First thing is the Minnesota Vikings defense, which is playing at a great level this year. I really like what I see from them. They are for real. Another thing I want to talk about is Teddy Bridgewater. Rookie quarterback, first start. Something I would usually pounce on the other way. However, I loved what I saw from the guy last week. He really managed the game well. He looked great on his feet. He didn't make any poor decisions. He was very smart with the football, and that's something that I need when I got my money on a team. The guy has receivers. He's got Cordell Patterson. He's got Greg Jennings, who's been doing it forever. You know, losing Rudolph hurts a little bit, but they've got guys that are capable of it. And Asiata, not Adrian Peterson, but the guy is capable. He can pound that football, and he catches well out of the backfield. On the other side of the football, we have a banged up Atlanta Falcons team. Roddy White, banged up. Harry Douglas is a little banged up. You got these guys flying high after that big win on Thursday night. This is a perfect letdown spot for these Falcons, and that's exactly what they will do. Let down as the Minnesota Vikings roll.
Yeah, Atlanta's one of those teams that's completely different away from home. I think they're going to struggle this week against the Vikings team that I think they're going to pick up around Teddy Bridgewater a little bit. Come out a little bit hot. You're going to get an outright winner here. Take the 3 points. 23-20 Minnesota Vikings victory.
Green Bay at Chicago.
If there's one thing I love, it's Aaron Rodgers in big games that he needs. And if there's one thing that I'm not too fond of, it's Jay Cutler in that exact same situation. This weekend, they're matching up as Green Bay heads to Soldier Field, laying 2 points. We love these Green Bay Packers. Personally, it's one of my favorite plays so far this season. Green Bay comes in having owned this matchup. 6-1 against the spread in the last 7 meetings. 13-3 against the spread in the last 16 in Chicago. Aaron Rodgers knows he needs this game. The Packers know they need this game. Although they're telling the media to relax, they're saying all the right things. They cannot fall to 1-3, especially when the Bears would become 3-1 and go to 2 games up on them in the division early in this year. The Bears come in banged up. They just played on Monday night, short week against a very physical Jets team. Now Alshon Jeffries is banged up. Brandon Marshall's roughed up. And now they got to take on a division opponent that they're only 1-8 against the spread in their last 9 against the NFC North. Bears also 3-12-1 against the spread in their last 16 home games. I don't expect Cutler to figure out this Green Bay defense. I think they're going to make it tough on him. Packers roll in a game that they desperately have to have.
Yeah, I like this game a lot myself, Tony. We have a banged-up team in the Bears who is coming in on a short week. 2 great things off the bat I love about the game. And now we got a team in the Packers who absolutely dominates the series. Sitting at 1-2, you know that they're going to give it their all this week, and really we are going to see the Green Bay Packers come out and play football for 4 quarters finally. Eddie Lacy, poised for a breakout game. Who better to do against than this piss-poor Bears run defense? Eddie Lacy should have a day. I really like these Packers this week. They will get the W for us.
Yeah, this game is really the tale of 2 cities. You have one team in the Chicago Bears, where the public really thinks that they're a really good team at the moment, but yet they're getting real banged up in some key places, and I think the public has too high of an opinion on them. Then you have the Green Bay Packers, who's extremely healthy for an NFL team playing 3 weeks, and the public doesn't think that they're playing that well. They think that they're not clicking, the offense looks a little bad, they have some controversy in the media. I really think that this is a game where the Packers put it all together. Not only is it a huge game in the standings for them, but it's just a big rivalry game for them too. There's a lot of pride on the line going into Chicago in this big game. Now I want to focus in on the guy that Joey just talked about, in Eddie Lacy. Eddie Lacy had a touchdown in both games against Chicago last year. In one of those games, he rushed for over 150 yards. Now so far this season, he barely even has 100 yards. People are freaking out, thinking maybe Eddie Lacy isn't for real. Maybe it was a rookie sensation kind of thing. I want to point out that he played Seattle, the Jets, and Detroit at home. 3 of the toughest run defenses that you can go up against. Things are going to get much better for him against Chicago Bears' run defense that really isn't very good. Their pass defense is a little better from last year, adding Kyle Fuller and a couple nice other pieces, but the run defense might be worse. And Eddie Lacy gets in the end zone for 2. I think the Packers figure it out a little bit, and that they're able to slow down this Bears offense a decent amount. I think the Packers roll.
Do not forget the Bears looked horrible in the home opener against those Bills. They played bad against the Niners for 3 quarters, and then they were handed the game by that horrible refereeing crew last week on Monday night. You're getting a lot of value here with these Packers laying 2. They need this win. Love Green Bay to go out, get the job done. 27-20 at Soldier Field.
Jacksonville at San Diego.
The Chargers head back home to the West Coast, laying 13.5 against a depleted Jacksonville Jaguars squad, and we love these San Diego Superchargers to get the job done here at home. Chargers come in 5-0 against the spread in their last 5, 5-1 against the spread following an ATS win. They've looked really good the last 2 weeks. Following a tough 18-17 loss in the first game at Arizona, they came back, beat your defending Super Bowl champions. Honestly, they beat them up physically also in that game at home. Then they get a big win in Buffalo last week. All of a sudden, these Chargers are looking pretty good, 2-1. I love what McCoy's done there. Ken Wisenhunt really helped turn Phillip Rivers' career around last season. He's now in Tennessee, but those effects are still looking the same with Phillip Rivers. Jaguars come in 4-9 against the spread in their last 13 road games, 0-5-1 against the spread in their last 6 games overall. They're changing the quarterback. Blake Bortles is going to get a chance to start here. Well, now he's got to take a West Coast trip in his first game. The team is 0-3. I know you want to start to build some momentum for Bortles, but he's coming into a really tough spot here. The Jaguars are 8-21 against the spread versus a team with a winning record. I don't expect them to do anything against a tough San Diego defense. Chargers roll in this one easily by double digit.
Yeah, these San Diego Chargers are really playing a great brand of football right now. The offense looks fantastic, clicking on all cylinders. Rivers is finding his receivers, and he is really running a great game. The guy's a gamer. The guy's got heart, and I love that in my quarterback. He's not afraid to grab his receivers if they mess up and rip them by the face mask and let them know about it. On the other side of the football, we have a bad Jacksonville Jaguar team who is not only bad, now they're banged up too. They got no running backs, they got no Cecil Shorts, no Marcus Lee, they got a bunch of scrappy receivers, and now we're working with a brand new rookie quarterback in Blake Bortles, who's making his first start. No threats over there in Jacksonville. They got to travel across the country to San Diego to play a San Diego Chargers team that is on fire. And now, back 2 years ago, I might have been a little concerned to lay 13.5 when I had North Turner running the show over there, but his dumb ass is out of there, and we got a real coach, and we're ready to play some real football and win a game big. It's going to be an absolute walk in the park in San Diego. Chargers roll.
Yeah, guys, these Chargers, despite the high spread, are probably one of the safer plays this week. The Chargers, at the moment, are one of the better offensive teams. Mike McCoy really has this team believing that they're one of the best teams in the NFL. Now, I don't think they can keep up with Peyton Manning and these Broncos for the whole season, considering that they have a tough back end of the schedule. But I think for the first half of the year, they are one of the better teams in this NFL, and I think we can take advantage of the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are just getting steamrolled week in and week out. I think that trend continues this week as Phillip Rivers, who's played some really tough games so far. I like where these Chargers are at the moment. It does my heart well to see the revival of Antonio Gates. I think he's going to put together a really nice year this year. Like Joey mentioned, they do have a bit of a banged up running back situation, but don't get scared. My good friend Dwight Freeney calls their new guy Donald Brown Mr. All Reliable. Good yards per carry for his whole career. I really think he can do enough for them to get them by. And Phillip Rivers is just going to pass all over this Jacksonville secondary. Now, when it comes to these Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm really not scared of them at all. They've shown that they're willing to get blown out every single week, and they don't seem to care too much. Blake Bortles was supposed to have, quote, an apprenticeship this whole season by sitting behind Chad Henne. That lasted exactly 2.5 weeks. They caved on that very quickly. But the reason why they didn't want to start Blake Bortles in the beginning is because they know how bad this offensive line is. Blake Bortles might get killed every time he steps back. He might get sacked more than any quarterback in the league. That offensive line is real bad, and like Joey says, those wideouts are real banged up for him too. He doesn't even have his targets out there. He doesn't really have much to work with. I don't think he's going to have a terrible game. At the end of the day, he's just not going to be able to keep up with Phillip Rivers gunslinging his ball around all day. I like the Chargers to get a lot of touchdowns on this Jags defense. I like it to be an easy day in San Diego for us.
Yeah, I do like Blake Bortles. I think he's going to be the best quarterback taken in this year's draft. But this is going to take time, man. This Jaguars team's still very far away. They're depleted already at 0-3, getting beaten down 3 times. Now you got to take this West Coast trip. I love these Chargers, laying the 13.5. They come out on top 38-10 this weekend.
New England at Kansas City.
For the third consecutive week, we're coming at you with a Monday Night Football play. For the third consecutive week, we are coming at you with these New England Patriots. Love them laying the 3.5 in Arrowhead against the Kansas City Chiefs. Go play it safe as always. Tell you to buy that hook down to 3. Don't get beat by the field goal. But New England's going to coast here on Monday night. Bill Belichick and company knows how to play on prime time, knows how to win big games. Squad's 5-1 against the spread in the last 6 Monday night games. I don't expect them to have a problem against the Kansas City Chiefs team that comes in 0-6 against the spread in their last 6 home games. I don't think that Andy Reid can turn this around against Bill Belichick. He has yet to beat him in his entire career. Reid, one of those coaches that sticks to the same scheme, same offensive plays. That's the type of coaches that Bill Belichick and these Patriots feed off of. You give this guy enough film, he's going to completely change the game. No, the Patriots offense hasn't looked as great as years past so far. As Brady early on really isn't thrown to anybody other than Julian Edelman. I think this week he starts to spread it around a little bit. You're going to see some Gronk action. You see a little Amendola action. Still waiting for Brandon LaFell to get a little bit of love. New England +6 turnover differential on the season. That's where they've been great. On defense. Finally, the defense is back to looking like how they did when they were a Super Bowl-like contender. They're going to get a big turnover in this one, if not multiple. Probably even get some points out of the defensive side of the ball. I fully expect New England to roll on Monday night.
Guys, there are so many things about this game that I love. First, it looks like a huge public overreaction. 60% of the public is against New England right now, coming off that win that they really didn't look great against the Raiders. They didn't cover that big spread, and the Chiefs went into Miami and beat the Dolphins pretty handedly. The public's going crazy over last week. People forget just how good this Patriots defense is. Like Tony said, they're one of the best that Brady's had since those great Super Bowl teams. They might even be better than those Super Bowl defenses with all those great names on it. Right now, they're allowing the least amount of passing yards per game, 12th least rushing yards per game. They're not even averaging giving up 300 yards a game. The defense is really good right now. Now, Brady hasn't looked terrific, but the running game has looked pretty good. You have the two-headed monster of Ridley and Vereen. It's really a big factor that both running backs are healthy and producing pretty well right now. Brady has tried to mix the ball around, but really just stuck to his big-name guys. I like the idea idea of a couple random people getting a few touchdowns. I think Tom Brady throws for 2, maybe 3 touchdowns. Bill Belichick really just dominates Andy Reid also when it comes down to it. When Bill Belichick can look at 10 years of film, he's going to know exactly what Andy Reid wants to do out there. He's going to know what Andy Reid's trying to call. Alex Smith is going to be throwing the ball out of bounds a heck of a lot as Chandler Jones and these other guys are chasing him down all night. I think the Patriots win really easily, and I think they score a lot of points unlike last week.
I love hearing this buzz about these Kansas City Chiefs beating these Patriots on Monday night. Patriots beat a determined Oakland Raider team who gave it their absolute all in the opener in New England. Just because of that, 60% of the public is now on the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday night against Tom Brady. I just don't see it. I don't get it. Patriots defense is playing at an absolute championship caliber level. The run game is there. You got that dual threat out of the backfield, Stephen Ridley, Shane Vereen. Tom still has his receivers. Rob Gronkowski, we know that's the duo in New England. We got Julian Edelman catching the balls, and it goes deep. We got Brandon LaFell, who still hasn't seen any love yet. We got Aaron Dobson. Tom's got his guys out there. That's not a concern. The concern is the Kansas City Chiefs, who don't really have any weapons. Jamal Charles, their star player, not going to be playing. We have an overrated receiver in Dwayne Bowe, who probably still isn't 100%. Not too much firepower out there. Let's look at it this way. We got Alex Smith versus Tom Brady on Monday night. That's all you need to know. I could actually see a blowout in this game. Regardless, Patriots win and cover.
Yeah, we're going to play it safe as always, telling you to buy that hook down. Make sure the field goal doesn't beat you. Buy it down to 3, but we love these Patriots. I love this defense. Tom Brady has a little bit of a coming out party in Arrowhead. Patriots roll here 24-13 on Monday night. So book it, get the picks in. That's going to do it for week 4 of this NFL season. We love this card. Feeling great about a 5-0 week. Hitting you with Indianapolis, laying the 7.5, telling you to buy the hook. Don't get beat by that touchdown at home against Tennessee. Taking Minnesota, getting 3 at home against the Atlanta Falcons. Green Bay laying 2 at Soldier Field in the big division game against the Bears. San Diego minus 13.5 to roll out the Jacksonville Jaguars at home. And then another Monday night play with these New England Patriots laying 3.5. Again, don't get beat by the field goal. Buy that hook down to 3. They roll out in Arrowhead the Kansas City Chiefs. Again, we love this card. Just going to add on what's already been a productive start to the season. 10-7 overall. 8-4 over the last 2 weeks. 6-4 in the NFL over that span. Going to keep building on that marathon, which is the NFL season. For Joey Staxxx and Ace Berg, I am your host, Anthony Nicky Jr., wishing you a great weekend, and we will see you next time here at Bookie Bashing ATS.com.